Hey YouTubers, a working man's pride here today. I thought I'd shoot a quick video on green bean. That's the name of whatever you're looking at, what you're probably asking yourself, what in the world did you smoke before you watched this video? Because, I mean, look at this thing. Hey, but fools can be looks is what I meant to say, can be deceiving. Very deceiving, actually. This right here used to be what they classify as a ride-on mower. A lawn tractor is one that you take the clip off of the back wheel to pull it off, and it has just a normal sized deck on it and the engine's in the front. A garden tractor has lugs on the wheels, and you can hook up plows, and they usually have a horizontal shaft, so the PTO goes this way instead of vertical up and down. Now this right here, well, yeah, it used to be a lawnmower. I'm sure in its day it used to cut grass, and I'm sure it did a good job at it. This is actually a Craftsman. At the end of this video, I'll show you a picture of what this should look like, or what it used to look like, as I shall say. I bought this off Facebook Marketplace for $100 about a little over a year back, and I've done quite a few things to it since I've got it. Now, the guy used this as a hunting rig, so basically a four-wheeler. As you can see, there's studs coming out the front here. He had a little deer rack that he could take on and off. He had a little, it was probably a 4.5 or 3.5 horsepower push mower engine on the back. And it was a trick to drive and a trick to keep running without damaging anything. But hey, it took him through rivers. He carried a deer in him. Took him through rivers, did the whole 9 yards, and this was kept at a buddy of his house, and buddy passed away. So it meant a lot to him, and he was kind of worried that it wasn't going to go to a good home. Well, I hope he knows that it probably went to the best home that it could have ever gone to, because that's a $300-some engine on the back. I put a new engine on it because the other engine was just, it had a rod knock, and it was making the oil gray and putting a lot of metal shavings in it, something that it shouldn't be doing. And of course it was old and worn out, and compression was getting low on it. So I put a new engine on it. I put this basket on the back. So first we're going to look at the engine when I put it on there, how I did it. So he had a pulley on the push mower engine, and I went to Tractor Supply, and it's the same pulley that's on this engine that he got from Tractor Supply. I had to take it down to a machine shop and have him bore it out a couple thousandths of an inch in order to fit on the shaft of this engine. This engine goes on, or is what they use on their Toro Time Master push mower engines. They have 2 blades on them, self-propel and everything. Pretty neat mowers. They have the self-paced, self-propel. But I got this brand new out the box, and this is what it got put to use for. This box, I took some bed angle, drilled some holes through it and the frame, and bolted it down. I had to, when I put this new engine on, I put this box on here when the old engine was on here. I had to move it back because of the exhaust, so I had to go and cut some pieces and put some crappy welds here, and they hold up. I'm gonna tell you why. This thing, when I was going up a hill, I had to stop. I let off the clutch. I eased off the clutch, but didn't do nothing. And basically that box is the only thing that saved me from flipping over, because it did a wheelie all the way up the hill, and right here on the bottom it scraped the ground. So all that weight smacked the bottom of it. So the welds held up, and my thing was, well, at least I know the welds are holding up and they're good. But that's the box. I just went to Lowe's. I built a box so I can go to a little dollar store or something. This is my trailer park trash redneck rig, if you want to call it, because that's what it looks like. But like I said, looks can be very deceiving. This little thing will take you anywhere and everywhere. And it doesn't have no cushions on it. So I put an hour meter on it for the new engine. Well, actually I put it on there for the old engine too, but what I did was I got some of this, I can't remember what you call it. but my wire running to my hour meter, it doesn't look the best. I would try to run it without drilling any holes, but just using the holes that were already there to secure it with zip ties. If I don't have to drill a hole, I won't. And I ran it and wrapped it around the spark plug high tension lead. It's going to be kind of hard to see back in there. Now that's in the smaller tubing. In the larger tubing, I run 2 wires that are hooked to just this simple switch. When you turn it off, it's grounded. Now it's not grounded. So when you turn it off in that position, it grounds the coil out and shuts your engine off. So I don't have to sit there and take a screwdriver like I used to, which the screwdriver is still here, and take it and ground it between the engine and the spark plug wire. I just never did take a screwdriver out. I've actually used it a couple of times for other stuff, tightening other stuff up on here. I just kind of left it. This is where the throttle used to be. That's where I run the hour meter wire through, and then this is where the old kill switch used to be. And we'll take you around to the other side. He mounted a throttle right here for the other old engine. This one just runs at 1 speed, about 3,400 RPM. This right here is it looks like a water bottle, but it's actually for gas. It's for like camping and stuff. You put fluids in it. That's my backup gas for emergencies. As you can see, I did the wiring. This grounds it out to the frame, and I had to remove this engine for some other repairs. Yes, after 20.2 hours, and I put about couple hours on it, testing it to see if it was going to hold up. But you just pop this out of this connector here, and then boom, and undo your high tension, your hour meter wire around the high tension lead. I have some spacers up under the engine, as you can see right there, to make sure it stays level. It's just an all-around neat little rig. I'm not sure who did this, but it holds up well. Tie rod, you can see they cut it and then took another piece of metal. It looks like he probably bent the tie rod. Somebody did, so they just cut one that was longer, and then what they cut, they welded. The welds look better than what I could do, to be honest with you. But yeah, this thing is my neat little rig. I put a lot of time and a lot of money in it, keeping it going. All the stuff on this is, well, there's no identification stickers on it. Heck, I didn't know whether it was a Murray or a Craftsman, so I had to do research. Look at other ones. Well, it looks identical to Craftsman Murrays. They're a little bit different, but it's definitely a Craftsman too. The paint underneath is gray, like the light gray, almost. It looks almost like the darker gray, but one of the two. It's either the lighter gray Craftsman or the darker gray. Whichever, I'm not really worried about it, because this is like if it breaks, I modify something and put it back on there. Now that exhaust tip, I had to put that on there because it would just shoot out on my box, and I don't want to put a bunch of heat protection on this box and make it look really bad. So I decided to make it even look worse. No, I'm playing. But I mean, it's your opinion. I mean, put a bunch of sheet metal here that'll just absorb the heat, or take a Swiffer wet jet handle and bend it and screw it onto the exhaust. And I'm not joking, y'all. That is exactly what that's from. I took an old Swiffer wet jet that somebody gave me. They didn't want it. It was going straight to the trash. Well, I took the handle off of it, cut it, bent it, and put it on there. Now, I tried to be careful when forming it, because I didn't want to restrict it or block it off. I didn't have aluminum brazing rods to cut it and then form it and then weld it shut again. So I just bent it as best I could with a torch and in a vise, and it worked. It really did work. So yeah, Swiffer wet jet exhaust tip. It works great. Looks like a little rat rod with these tires. I need to put some little fenders here on it. probably out of sheet metal to keep the mud and snow and stuff from splashing up on the engine, which is something later on I want to do. The only thing I don't like about this rig is as much stuff as I pack on it to make it basically survival proof, it's hard to work on. I got to take all kinds of stuff off. I don't have a lot of work room to get to that plug back there. It's a pain in the rear end, so I could pretty much take that box off right there. Every time I go check my oil, I gotta lift my seat up, which ain't no biggie. But it's just, now this engine right here, as you can see, it has a little recess in it. And the flywheel, I've already had the shroud off. It has a ring gear on it, so I can put an electric starter on this thing if I really wanted to. But I don't think I'm gonna go through all that, because then I had to mount a battery, and I'm okay with pull starting it. That's fine with me. But yeah, this is just my little rig. I thought I'd show you guys. It's pretty cool, ain't it? And this is Green Bean. This is what I named him. The guy obviously painted it camouflage colors because he used it as a hunting rig. I didn't want any of the stuff in the front, so I just put a box in the back. And this is the date that I had bought this thing. This is Green Bean, name of the mower. I name all my mowers. I got this mower in 3/28/21, so it hasn't even been a year, but it's been close to a year. That's our anniversary, y'all. But all jokes aside, y'all, this really is a good little rig I have set up. It's cool. People, when they see me driving this up the neighborhood and down the street of the neighborhood, it's like they're trying to break their neck, turn around looking at me. Like, what in the world did I just see? But like I said, you look at it and you're like, oh, that looks like it. I swear people are so annoying. That looks like something that would break down on you, a wheel would fall off or something. Actually, it's really reliable. And like I said, the looks are very deceiving. This is one of my most reliable rigs. And I do things right. I don't half anything. You know, I do things right on it. So, thanks for watching, y'all. I hope you liked this video. Hopefully you got some good ideas on, well, anything. If you want to make a little rig like this, I'm going to take y'all inside and show you what this thing used to look like. So this is the engine that was on it. Once upon a time, this is when I had put the box on. You can see where I had run the hour meter wire up through it. Little breaking strut and flathead. He had a little piece of sheet metal there to block the exhaust from hitting the tire. Neat little rig. Now let me go and find the pictures of what it looked like when I first got it, and then I'll show you what it did look like once upon a time. This is the exact date that I brought it home. You can see where that throttle run up. There was nothing there. It had the old ignition switch. I put that string around it to hold my keys on. You can see I'd been... that's the information on the engine. You see there's no box on the back. That's how it used to look when I got it. That was actually the first day that I brought it home. No box on the back. And that was on the way home with it on the back of the truck. Now let me go pull up some pictures of what it should have looked like. So this is what it would have looked like once upon a time. Or it did look like. It did have a Tecumseh on it. That's a different colored one. But the same thing. So it's a big difference considering what it looks like now. So thanks for watching the video. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Workman's Pride.